gardens in the ghetto than fake fluorescent food designed in test tubes by Monsanto. It's just unnatural. You light a candle, let the flame burn away the pain. When your thinking's right, there's nothing that can touch you anyway. Keep on relentless mental imaging. Yeah, I know it cause I feel it. I feel it cause I'm kneeling at the feet of this incredible healing. Leaves me reeling at the power of this being. And I can't even see it, but I can reach it. And so can anyone that'll stop and make believe. State of the art now, here and hit repeat. Fade to white and dissolve from bass to beat. Light your candle.
Thanks, guys. So, you ask questions now, or we keep playing? Sweet. That was Gardens in the Ghetto, the title track from our 2 albums ago. Now we're going to play... What are we going to play? Nova? Nova, which is on our most recent album, Imminent Light.
looks cool there. Okay, last one, I guess.
So fast.
Okay. Make sure I'm ready. Oh, you usually use your octaver?
Yeah, no option.
Okay. Okay.
Intrinsically algorithmic, the human heart is as specific and prolific as it is artistic, and it remains mystic. Cryptic yet simplistic in its repetition, to deviate is cataclysmic. The scientific tradition of being cynics has uncovered greatness, albeit dualistic, mimicking the characteristics of the critics become monolithic, yet research realms less rigid. Matrix modulation through experimentation, freeing the nations. Cyclical prosaic altercations of prescribed sequence guides a spinal stimulation, reveals a constellation, exhalation, invitation. Heart, voice, and medulla mind magnetization, pulse liberation, cadence sublimation in the culmination of the crowning calculation. The rhythm of a man, a woman walking ties to circulation as much as living vines interlocking, but it's shocking. People are products, so don't be mocking. They're clocking your every moment, logged on or off, they're watching and they're not stopping. Defrauding and robbing and knocking at your door. You need more and more, so go shopping till your drive is paralyzed. Arteries clogging, brain rotting, coughing and crawling, propaganda hawking. We're lucky the cosmos is paradoxical, unambiguous, impossible, comical and symbolical, audible, optical, logical, always methodical. For neurological mastery is astronomical, immunity guaranteed by the physiological asterisms, access through psychological skeleton, elegant, rhythmic, pulsing particles, shoulder line, dividing mind and the articles. Away.
Thanks, guys.
We're ready.
Sit. Welcome to Live from the Living Room. I'm your host, Logan Ollivier, and we are here with the Ohm Sound. Thank you guys for coming so much. Can we start off just by you introducing yourselves?
Sure, I'm Orion.
I'm Marina.
Varoujan, or VJ.
Right on. You guys are from Montreal. Traveling through, you went all the way out to Vancouver. Now you're getting back east. So you started in Vancouver with the tour?
No, we always start our tours kind of in Montreal, do a big like send-off show, whatever, and then we usually do a tour all the way to BC, tour all around there, and all the way back as well. So usually it's 2-3 months of summer touring. About a third of the year we spend on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. So the Ohm Sound. I'm assuming you guys are into yoga with that kind of name. How'd you come up with the name and how'd you form as a group?
We started, like, Orion and I were a duo, and, like, Orion and Marina, it's like an acronym. So we were just called Ohm. And like, if anyone who's into yoga knows, Ohm is like a Sanskrit symbol, kind of like ancient India. It sort of symbolizes like the energy that's vibrating, that's bringing the universe into creation, basically. So we thought that was pretty apt for music because it's kind of deep. And anyway, and then when we we started playing with Varoujan, we were like, we
should do a cut. Okay, now say that again.
Okay, we started playing with Varoujan. We were like, we're more than just Ohm, so we became the Ohm Sound, like all of us together, collective kind of. Yeah.
So how long have you been in the band then?
It's been almost 5 years, I guess.
Yeah,
It's like 4.5.
4.5 years now.
Something like that.
Wow, cool. So on this latest tour, what was the coolest place you guys played at?
We play a lot of different shows. Like we play big festivals, which are always amazing. But we also play sometimes like the more interesting venues are really cool. Like we did a cottage concert in Northern Ontario in Wabicoba Lake, where our backdrop was literally the lake. We were about 3 feet from the water.
Oh, wow.
So you're like playing on the water. Your speakers are echoing over to all the cottages and everyone comes out and parties. So there's like different stuff, right? You can't choose your favorite gig because everything's amazing. They're all just different.
Everybody loves the like big festival gig with 1,000 people and perfect stage sound, and those are really fun, and I love those obviously. But it's also fun to like show up at a random town and just like you have no idea what's gonna happen, and it usually works out. So
I think
Nice.
a prime example of that was Quesnel, BC, because it was a small town. It was like kind of in northern BC, and you roll in and you don't know what to expect. And we get there and there's this magical stage and 2 sound guys just like, what do you need? We'll get everything for you set up. And so you can't go in with too many expectations.
Yeah.
It's like it's always a surprise.
Right, yeah. And you went to Wayne Stock, which I immediately saw the shirt. That was crazy. Wayne's World is all I can think of.
We did, yeah. Wayne Stock is in Wayne, Alberta, aptly enough.
and it's like close to Calgary, and when we were in Calgary, we were telling people that we were going there, and they're like, "Where's that? I've never heard of that." So yeah.
But it's 5 years in. They have 3 stages. They had like, I don't know, close to 30 bands or something. Like you can see on the shirt, but crazy players. Like there's a lot of gem festivals, like underground festivals in Canada that are crazy. That people don't know about it in the mainstream, but the people that do know about it, they book an insane festival. So.
And do you find that there's a big difference between the mainstream and then kind of this underground type of music scene, and like once people kind of get exposed to it, it blows their mind type of stuff?
Definitely. Like we're fully independent, so we don't even experience the mainstream at all besides the bigger festivals we play. But even those big festivals that we tend to play are run by artistic people that are doing it for the love more than for business, which is the mainstream.
Yeah.
And I don't like that at all. Business side of things.
I agree with you completely. It's why we do this show. We like to showcase bands that are independent, and you guys are perfect. I was so excited when I found out you were strolling through Thunder Bay, and it's like, we got to do it.
I'm so happy it worked out.
No, it was deadly. So when you are writing your music, it flows so really cool together. What kind of influences or what's your process in coming together as power trio?
Like we all came from crazy different musical backgrounds, and we also love, like I played classical for my whole childhood, and like these guys were more like, you started out as like like folk
like
guitar.
tap guitar, like acoustic.
And then you did some classical piano too. And then you guys both were more into jazz. And then like not only that, but we all listened to like anything from like I went through a metal phase, and like I love hip hop, and I also love classical still, and I love jazz, and like so when we all have these different influences, and so when we write, I feel like part of that being independent, like we were just talking about, is like that no one's pressuring us to sound a certain way or write a certain way. So we just kind of are like, what do we feel like playing right now? Like, so like recently I went through like a reggae phase of like listening to so much reggae. And then when we were jamming, like a lot of like reggae influence starts coming out, or like whatever is going through our heads at that time. So it's
a very collaborative process. We tend to jam a lot. We'll just get together, especially after we've been on a long tour like this and we've been on the road and playing shows. We get back to Montreal and we're in our studio, we're just hanging out, having fun, and all these ideas come out. So we'll try to latch on to an idea and write it, sort of brain it out a little more, arrange it into songs. So it really starts off as jams most of the time, and we'll like build on that going forward.
Have you ever collaborated with other artists too, and on the road meeting a whole bunch of different kinds of bands and have them come in and help you guys out, or just kind of
we definitely
bounce
like
stuff off them?
Feature people like and jam with other people. We've never actually done like a written like recording collaboration, which I'd like to do. It's
probably this album, but
yeah,
it's been like kind of serendipitous. It just worked out. They happened to be in the town. We have a great friend in Vancouver who's an incredible guitarist. So if he's free when we're doing a show, he comes out and plays. But we have to trust the people a lot because it's complicated music. And even if you play jazz really fluently, the changes happen so differently, and it's not always jazz based. There's a lot of world beats. So even if you specialize in jazz harmony, if suddenly we throw an Afro-Cuban 6/8 with a 4/4 on top of it, it might trip people out, right? So we get to know people first, or we watch their show and vibe it out.
I must admit, I'm certain those were words, but that was right over my head.
Afro-Cuban 6/8 4/4.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, totally. I get that 100%. Yeah.
Well, I guess that proves the point then.
Yeah. I'm not going to be collaborating with you guys. So with all these festivals you've played at, so what was the coolest band or I guess show that you were part of?
I don't know if I can pick one because everything has its own amazing kind of thing.
Stands out.
But Roots and Blues is a festival that stands out because they collaborate you with other musicians. So they basically, you do shows at night, you do your concert, and then they'll also do a workshop, which they call it a workshop. But basically what it is they pick members from different bands and put them together on a stage without any prior rehearsal, and they say do something. And for an hour. So basically you end up with, there's a host who's supposed to kind of guide it, and they might have some idea of what to do, but basically the ideal scenario is you just create together. So you might have, like we did it this year, we had Tanya, she's this amazing soul singer from Vancouver, and we had Mercy Funk, they're like a old school funk band, and then we had Oz 12, who's a rapper, and then we had us, and they're all different styles, right? But you get there together, and we had 2 bass players and all these like 10 people on stage. We're like, how do we make this work? But then someone starts it and you just go with it. And because everyone's thinking as a supporting act, which is the ideal in a jamming situation, then you end up with this full song, 5-10 minutes, like a rehearsed song, but it's all completely live and you'll never see it again because everyone's from a different genre. So to me, that stands out because that's how I started playing music, was jamming and loving different instruments that don't necessarily mix, coming together to create something cool.
Well, yeah, we had a didgeridoo in here. Like that's not something that's typical in bands. And that was really cool. So you guys really like adding all sorts of elements and really pushing yourselves.
We all play different stuff. And so if we can fit it in somewhere, we'll do it.
Well, in this scenario, it was actually the most stripped down we can be. So normally I also play guitar and we do live looping. Everything's live, but I'll loop my guitar, loop an electronic drum beat, and then I play bass. And then Marina will still have synth and keys, or sometimes she plays bass. We all sing. We just kind of switch it up, right? So keep it fresh.
Sure, yeah.
It's all about the creativity.
So in the not summer season, but the rest of the year, do you guys just play generally in the Montreal area or take a break?
Writing is basically what we're doing. Like like VJ said, at the end of a tour, we're super inspired. We've been playing to so many different people, feeding off their energy, but all the same songs. So our solos evolve, the songs evolve, but then we get back and we have this pent up creativity, and we usually write like 3-4 songs, like almost a song of practice, like at least an idea of practice, and then we build off that. Yeah. And then recording too. So like we've already recorded 7 songs for our new album, and we'll be doing 3 or 4 more when we get back, and then we'll have a new album by next summer for sure.
Oh, nice. Right. Yeah. And that'll be your 3rd album or 4th?
Depends how you count it.
Okay.
It's like
we have like an album that we did when we were still a duo, and we were traveling in Australia, and then we wrote a bunch of songs on the road, and we did this album. And then when we joined with V, we did another album. So we've got 2 albums with this configuration. So that'll be our 3rd, this upcoming one. Yeah.
But we still play songs from that old one. That's why it's hard to judge.
And it's a sweet album. Like, I still love it. So it's like,
yeah.
Oh, I've been binge listening to you guys ever since. Yeah,
Nice.
like the last 3 days has been all I've listened to. It's fantastic.
Right on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have things inside of your lives that really influence you when you're coming up with this music that is from outside of music, just day-to-day life?
I feel like just being a creative person, like in general, like you're just living and you just, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I feel like if I don't outlet creatively, then I get all like, blocked. So I feel like just anything I'm doing will end up as music in some way. But like I said, the album we wrote when we were traveling, a lot of the songs were written about things that we were, or just on the beach somewhere, or like, we were just bumming around, living in our backpacks. So like, and then it's like living in the, like our first album we did with the 3 of us was called Gardens in the Ghetto. And that was kind of inspired by like city living, trying to find the beauty in when you're surrounded by concrete. And so we look for inspiration wherever we are.
I think an element of our music is sort of like social consciousness as well. So we're very much aware of what's happening around us in the world, whether it's the environment or social issues, equality. I think that's reflected in our music, and also music itself is a channel for creating like a level playing field and a common language between people. So maybe a way to bring people together and resolve conflict. So I think that really inspires and informs our music as well.
Which kind of, again, ties into like our name, like the Om sound. The Om is the like underlying foundation of all things. So it's kind of like we try to operate from the idea that we're all connected in that way.
And so you spend a lot of time just observing the universe and opportunities that arise. My wife is a yoga instructor, so she's instructs me on how to see the world, which I need help with often because I'm kind of a big dummy. But opportunities are always around us, and you have to be aware of it to really embrace it. And you guys obviously seem like people that do that. Do you find that that's something that happens a lot when you're ready for it?
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel like you have to work to get there. Like, to a certain extent, people are like that naturally, but also putting the effort to be like that, to operate in that way.
Definitely, like practicing yoga and meditation is my daily routine. So that helps to like you said, observing the world from a different mindset, kind of, because you're suddenly removed from your kind of ego consciousness, and suddenly you're seeing everything differently. So lyrically, a lot of this lyrics happen that way, where I've been observing from a different mindset. And then when I go to write, I find like writing or music or any creative activity, if you're truly tuned in, it's almost not you. Like, it's just kind of coming through you. It's like you've done the work on your instrument, and then when you get down to play it, your body does it for you. So lyrically, I try to get to that place as well, and then it ends up being about those kinds of things because we observe so many different people, and we've traveled, and we see all these different things. They come together into one kind of common, like,
just adding new perspective.
Thread, exactly.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So what's next for you guys? You're going to work on your next album and release that for next summer?
Yeah, we have lots of mixing to do. Like, we did some recording while we're on tour. So we have some tracks that are just sitting, waiting to be mixed. So that's going to happen. And then we maybe record a couple more.
And then more touring as usual. We start booking right when we get back. So we haven't decided yet. At the end of every tour, we have a little like brainstorming band meeting, and then we decide where we're going to go. We might do Europe next year, or we might do another shorter Canada tour and then Europe, or we don't know, maybe the States. We'll see.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Also, I might point out, technically our tour is not over until the middle of September. We have another festival in Quebec.
Nice.
Yeah, you're right.
So that'll be the official end of our tour.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think one of the people in the crowd wants to ask a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you guys could work with other bands or, I guess, another sound group, who would it be? Who would you guys be inspired to work with?
Ground Up Studios, Snarky Puppy for me.
Yeah.
That's that was a big turning point in my life, was when I heard We Like It Here by Snarky Puppy. I'd already listened to a lot of similar stuff, but that album, for some reason, seeing it all live on YouTube, I was just like glued to the computer screen, learning licks for probably months, if not years. So like, those guys, they know our style, you know, they're totally different, and yet they know exactly how to mix that kind of thing. So any of them, basically, it's like a collective of like 40 people, would be great to work with. You guys probably have different ones.
I was thinking of Alpha Mist. He's like my favorite keys player. That would be a dream.
For me, I would say not necessarily a specific group or band, but very inspired by different world music. So
cool.
maybe like going to like Havana, Cuba, or down to Brazil and like just jamming with percussionists and like learning new licks and stuff. That would be really inspiring for me.
So you guys are on Spotify. You can find all of their music there. Do you find that is a good tool to get your music out there, or I've had mixed reviews.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of artists we don't really like it because they don't pay anything to artists.
Very
Literally
controversial.
nothing.
It's like 0.001 of a cent.
It's 100th of a cent per play.
Yeah.
So and we calculated how many you calculated once like how many plays we needed like to equal the price of one T-shirt. It was like 10,000 or something like ridiculous. So like basically you're not making any money off Spotify, but then on the other side of that, there's a lot of bands that are successful purely because they're totally independent. They've never signed a label. They've never had to answer to any sort of, music god that's telling them to be a certain way. And they've made themselves very successful off of using these social media platforms and Spotify. And, so it's like we're entering this kind of transition phase where I don't know if can really expect to make money off of recordings as much anymore. Whereas, in the past it was like, you want to listen to your favorite band, you buy the album, they get the money, they're good to go. But now it's kind of like, that's not really like, when we release an album, there's no like, oh, we're going to make money on it. It's more just like, I just want people to like have it and just get it out there. So it's like this kind of double, it's like, there's two ways of looking at it. So you could, yes, it sucks, but also we choose to look at the side of it where it's like, it's cool how much easier we can connect with people anywhere in the world.
Yeah. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes I think that it's really not right that this corporation that's making millions of dollars is doing it off the backs of artists.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have discovered some amazing music on Spotify just by like play your daily new mix or whatever. And it's fantastic.
And then on the other side, like then Spotify is interesting because it's it has like an algorithm that's similar to Facebook where if something's getting a lot of plays, then they push it more. So on the other side of that, it can actually be really difficult for like a totally unheard artist to get into that playlist that you're talking about. Because like a lot of times they push certain artists for the sole reason that they've been played a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's like there are flaws in that system, but it is really cool that everything is there and you can pretty much find anything you want to find and you can listen to it for $10 a month. It's like, why would you not? Like
Mongolian throat singing.
Like amazing.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great for the consumer. Like, it took me a while. Like I resisted getting a Spotify account. I was like, I won't do it. But then finally I was like, now I have one, so I can't talk. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all the questions I have. Normally I finish with a silly one, but I'm just drawing blank right now, so I can't do it. But I do want to thank my sponsor, Impact Promotions, for giving us swag, and I got some hats for you guys.
No way, thank you.
So you take those with you back to Montreal, show them off, and yeah, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. It's been a fantastic time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and we'll have your episode out pretty quick, and we're looking forward to it.
Sweet.
So thanks for watching. This is Live from the Living Room. I'm your host, Logan Ollivier, and this was the Ohm Sound.
We still are.